welcome to this week's Three Legs Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Sean,
Chris,
and Lee.
British Grand Prix week. Excited much?
Not yet.
I know.
Will be when it gets closer.
I was about to say exactly the same thing. I think too early in the week yet, but come back to it in a couple of days. Yes.
And then all the news will have happened, of course, by then.
Yes.
Well, it'll be Tuesday.
I don't really get overly excited about the British Grand Prix, to be honest. I know people sort of bang on about it being one of their favourite tracks, but I always think it's one of those tracks where you can get good races on them, but you can also have like really processional, boring races as well. Yeah. It's not like a Austin, for instance. Where I think usually as long as there's a couple of cars that are close to each other, you're pretty much guaranteed a banger there, aren't you? But
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice this year. At least Max might get round the whole lap without Hamilton knocking him off the track.
And a whole legion of people are now saying too soon.
I'm convinced. I keep trolling Facebook, not Facebook, Twitter, just looking at posts, and I'm now absolutely convinced that Team LH now have what happened at the last Grand Prix last year as the worst thing ever to happen in a car, overtaking JFK getting assassinated. I'm convinced that's where they are with it.
Yeah, but as is normal with you search Twitter just for the extremes.
No, not at all. It's like do you know what? I found this recently. I'd be interested to know actually from our other listeners.
What, both of them?
Oh, yeah, both listeners. If they've noticed it as well, like that. Not all Formula One fans, because obviously we speak to lots of them, and most of them are very nice. But there seems to be an increasing amount of cunty F1 fans, and I almost like F1 fans that don't actually watch F1. They just argue about it online.
2 minutes 40, is that a new record for a C-bomb?
Yeah, well, I haven't said it for a while, but I felt it necessary. No, it's just really weird.
Just double check. Are we or are we not including Nick Knowles in this category?
We can do. We can do.
I mean, I thought the worst thing that happened to him in a car was being arrested for texting while speeding.
Was he?
Yes.
Yeah, probably swerve that. I don't know quite what the legal ramification there would be.
Yeah, no, I just find it. Lots of fans are just a bit harder to navigate these days.
Oh, hang on. I at least said something contentious. The internet's killed him.
The birth of like the simpy F1 fan as well. What? I'm here.
No, he's still there.
Yeah, you vanished for a second. In June 2019...
Oh, that must be your connection, because it still sounded fine with mine.
Ah, right. In June 2019, Knowles was issued with a 6-month driving ban and fined £1,480 for speeding and using a mobile phone whilst driving.
Short memories, Nick Knowles.
So, yes, we can say that something bad happened to him in a car. He got arrested.
Just for the record, regardless of whatever invisible war is going on with Nick Knowles, I don't want anything bad to happen to him in a car, because that sounds a bit nasty.
Oh, no, don't want anything bad to happen to anyone.
He's just very, very vocal on Twitter for those that he hasn't blocked.
What do you mean you don't agree with me? Block.
Well, yeah, he definitely fits in my cunty F1 fan bracket then, definitely.
You could have stopped before F1 fan.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. And the other one I can't get around as well is there's lots of pictures of people will double their pictures up. So like they'll take a selfie of themselves, and then they'll stick like Charles Leclerc or Lando next to it as like a collage to say, like, just me and the guy that's going to be 2022 world champion. You look, I don't understand this. This is
I have not seen this trend. It sounds alarming.
It's a very strange thing that you're doing. It almost feels like something that maybe a 7-year-old should do with like a boy band, not like a 35-year-old man should do with a sporting person. It's really weird. I don't know. The whole thing's weird.
What has happened to F1 fandom? It never used to be like that. Then again, there never used to be an internet.
No, but
I'm going
this is the thing, it
I'm going to sound like the old guy now. Back in my day.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It wasn't like that.
No,
and
F1 Twitter used to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could. But the other thing would be if you ended up speaking to a Formula One fan, you were kind of guaranteed that, like, it was when two Formula One fans bump into each other, it's great because it doesn't happen all the time. I remember when I was at a wedding a few years ago, and I ended up sat next to somebody that liked Formula One. It was like fucking brilliant. Now we don't have to pay attention to anybody else; we can just natter. Whereas now, it's like I had a conversation in the pub. About 3, I can't remember when it was. It was a Grand Prix weekend because I was watching the end of Quali in Sam Webb's, and there was a Scottish guy in there, and he overheard me say to somebody that I think that there's a good chance that Fernando Alonso might be the best driver in, like, not that even if he's not currently the best driver. This was my point. I think at his peak he might have been the best driver of all time. And I thought the Scottish guy was going to punch me. He was fucking not happy about this. He just interrupted the conversation. What about Hamilton? Hamilton beat him in his rookie season. I said, well, he didn't beat him. They had the same points. That didn't diffuse the argument.
Don't be coming in here with your stats.
Talking of which, apologies for the lack of virtual stat man tonight, but scheduling and all that.
Oh, I want to talk to him about electronic drums as well. That's a shame. Yeah, and he just sort of scowled at me, and then I said, "Well, don't forget as well." I said, "Like, Hamilton came in. I was being my usual, like, normal self. We'll talk about Formula One."
So, cunty F1 fan then?
Well, not really, because I said, "Well, you got to remember, he came into Formula One. He was like the not Ross Brawn,
Ron Dennis?
Ron Dennis's, like, little boy that he sort of grew up from a karting star." I said, "You don't think maybe that the internal pressure was to swing this, so for, like, Lewis Hamilton's way? Because, like, I mean, just think of the money you get. Your rookie comes in, he'll be the youngest Formula One world champion of all times, beats a current world champion. Like, that's fucking money for the team as far as advertising goes." And, like, at this point, he was, "No, you're just fucking wrong." Like, oh, okay, that's good. Well, yeah, I don't know when it happened, but I'm not happy about it.
So, yeah. So what have we learned from that? Don't go drinking in Sam Webb's.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty good rule of thumb anyway. The only reason I went in there because it was there, and it was during because I was going into town, and it was one of the red flagged quali sessions, so I couldn't wait to finish watching it. I had to go into town, and that was the first port of call which I could go into and watch.
So, we've got the British Grand Prix to look forward to this weekend-ish, but before we sort of talk up and down everybody's chances and do what little news we've got, I just want to do a shout-out to all the guys that did the 24 Hours of Barcelona on iRacing this weekend for Team 3 Legs 4 Wheels Evolution. Steve, John, Ricky, and I know I'm missing someone.
Paul.
Well, there was, yeah. Yep, there was me and Mark. I'm only taking the piss, Mark. We came 7th. Sorry, after 24 hours around the Circuit de Catalunya, which it's bloody small around there.
Does any actual real life series do a 24 hours of Barcelona?
You may have to look that one up on the internet if you can reach your phone and reach around a cat.
I can do that.
Reach around a cat, dearie me.
Yeah, I don't know if they do it in real life, but no, it was fun. There's going to be more 24-hour races, and thanks to everybody that dropped in on Twitch during the course of the day. Right, so newsy bits. Pierre Gasly appears to have signed a new deal, and he is not going anywhere.
that to me says there's nowhere for him to go.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, well, Perez has got an extra 2 years at Red Bull. Max will be there until he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Danny Rick locked in at McLaren for next year as well.
Yeah, I would probably say so. Marco has decided to keep Gasly on, keep him in AlphaTauri, and does the inside of his car now look like Homer Simpson's workstation? With
Don't forget, you're here forever.
that's the one.
Yeah. He has to cover it in pictures of Yuki to make it say "do it for her." I'm not quite sure.
It's a shame because I think he's still deserving of a faster car, better drive.
Maybe is he? But is he worthy of a car much faster? You know, like there's always somebody's got to be John Alesi.
I think it's a case of we've seen everything we're going to see from him in an AlphaTauri, really, haven't we? If it would be nice to see him go somewhere else and just see what happens. If it
would be nice out of the Red Bull program.
Yes,
that's kind of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think whether or not he is capable of taking a what do you call it?
Mid-grid?
Mid-grid. That's the one. A mid-grid car forward, or whether he would impress enough to get into a further forward car, I do not know, but be nice to see.
He'd have been a good shout for Haas if they were getting rid of Schumacher.
Yeah.
That would have been a good option. I think probably for everybody really.
He'd definitely, I think, be closer to Magnussen, or potentially, beating Magnussen on occasion.
Yeah, apparently the Schumacher's under quite a lot of pressure. You know, it's Gunther Steiner has been sort of saying he's not, he's not nailed in for his seat by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a very, I don't know, best way to describe it, conjecture-filled summer with what's going to happen with Haas.
I think Schumacher's got. I think his results are mediocre enough, and his surname is strong enough to see him with another year in Formula One.
Yeah, I mean, all right, he's had some mechanical issues.
Because he keeps driving into walls.
Well, yes. I mean, there's other drivers you could say that about.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly Canadian ones, which will...
Driving into Sebastian Vettel wasn't a good look.
It was not. No. Definitely less driving into stuff would result in fewer car problems.
Maybe that's where Latifi's getting it wrong. Because he said this week he doesn't know why he's not getting the same performance out of the car that Albon is. It's like, do you want to tell him or shall we?
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame for him, isn't it?
Probably the same reason he's not getting the same performance out of the car that George Russell got last year. Just that's probably the reason.
Yeah. I think it's a shame for him that he didn't get a weaker teammate. You know, he's ended up with somebody that I think a proper top line driver of the future now. You know, if now he's given a chance to shake off the I was thrown into Red Bull halfway through a season, Luke.
Yeah,
and I think also speaking in Albon's favour, he's not technically on the Red Bull program anymore. I think they've got like first dibs on him should Williams decide.
He's on loan, isn't he?
I think he's on loan, similar to when Sainz.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to deal with the daily threatening phone calls from Helmut Marko.
I think he'll end up back at Red Bull.
A Red Bull logo on his helmet, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, as you say, much like when Sainz was on loan at Renault, it's a similar sort of way. We can call you back if we need to.
I think he'll end up replacing Perez.
What, that'll be 2025? 24? No, 25.
24. He's got 2 years, hasn't he, Perez?
Yeah.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
2 years after this season.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, 25.
Yeah.
I don't see... Because I think they'd be looking to replace him at some point then anyway. So it's probably a decent it's probably a decent bet that if Albon's doing well and still doing well, it'll be him. You never know. Max might leave, and they might need to call somebody up quicker.
Yeah, but where could you see Max going? Unless Ferrari
out of Formula One.
Unless Ferrari offer him the entire universe.
No. He'd leave Formula One if he leaves Red Bull.
Do you think? I don't know. It would have been so easy to think that about Lewis Hamilton. That was such a shock when he went to Mercedes.
But then, if you notice, when Hamilton went to Mercedes, he kind of changed his PR thing because he said, I've been with McLaren all this time, and then all of a sudden he goes to Mercedes. He's like, I've always been powered by Mercedes.
I think he said that after, didn't he? Yeah, there was a quick shift, wasn't there? But it'd be like Vettel. Nobody expected Vettel to leave Red Bull, did they?
No, but
until he got a car he didn't like and got bored, and then did he actually?
That's what I mean. Vettel left because he was having a shit season at Red Bull.
Yeah.
Hamilton left McLaren because there were 2 or 3 seasons where he felt like he probably could have won the World Championship again, but McLaren let him down.
Yeah.
So, until Max is in a position where he's not winning races, and bear in mind, I saw something today that said Red Bull won the last 6 races. That totally flew past me by. That's insane. Like, you're not going to leave a team that's going to be winning 6 races in a row, even if you haven't won all of them. No. You've won the majority of them. Then you're quite clearly the team leader. There's no need to go anywhere.
Also, I think it's rare when you have a shake-up in regulations. I mean, it might ebb and flow a little bit, and somebody might gain some ground. But it's very unusual to start a new generation of car well and fall out of championship contention. It's usually when you have these big rule updates.
Ferrari are managing it quite well.
Ferrari, that's Ferrari. Though,
Ferrari are always the exception to the rule. The only team that could come second in a 2 prancing horse race.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing, though. I think Ferrari they're nailed in to be competitive. Don't get me wrong. I think they're going to be there. They're going to be one of the competitive teams. I think it's going to take something pretty special for somebody like McLaren, for instance, to overhaul Red Bull and Ferrari now from where they are. Even over the next like two or three seasons, probably, which is quite depressing for anyone that's a McLaren fan.
Unless Ferrari get caught cheating again, which you can't. You can't rule out. You cannot rule that out
unless they start winning, and then we have to investigate it. I don't see Red Bull, looking iffy until 2026 when the next sort of shake-up goes on.
Well, there's been a little bit of news today, hasn't there, with the fuel change for 2026 as well.
Mm.
Sustainable fuels will be used. Synthetic sustainable fuels will be used from 2026.
Oh, this is part of the wanting to be more carbon neutral.
They're hoping to be net zero carbon by 2030. It's only 8 years away. 8 years ago, it was 2014. We were watching Rosberg and Hamilton in the duel in the desert. The same amount of time, Formula One is hoping to be net zero carbon.
Yeah. It's called selling your carbon credits to other people to make yourself look good. I'm sure they'll manage it.
I don't understand carbon credits.
It's exactly for that reason. So people so people that are already create like carbon, but want to fucking look better, they can ship them off to other countries,
who then take on those the responsibility of getting rid of them.
Yeah. So you just sell them to a country that isn't going to do it. They're just going to do. There'll be countries out there which will just do it for the money, and then nobody will talk about them.
But the sustainable fuel thing still doesn't. That's carbon free. That's what they're saying. Synthetic fuels are not only fully net zero if the energy used to create them is carbon free. Are only fully net zero if the energy is carbon free. However, the source said the aim is to be zero emission in the life cycle of the fuel. So basically, Formula One's trying to save the planet by creating synthetic fuels, which will put in their cars to start with, and then hopefully trickle down to road cars that can't be converted to hybrid or electric.
I mean, grand. To me, the sustainability of Formula One is like the least interesting topic. It's two down from tires, and I don't know what's above it. There's this something above it, and then tires, and that's the order of boring to talk about Formula One.
Well, funny you should mention tires because I was just waiting.
Look, if it gets us off fucking Formula One trying to pretend that flying all over the world and racing cars around a track, can it be in anywhere near green? Then I'm all for talking about tires.
Well, no, but if they're pushing the technology, it might not be fun, but it's still important. If you've got the technology to develop a synthetic fuel, which is then going to be put into, a certain percentage of cars on the road that are still going to be running fossil fuels, then you've made some pretty big steps in helping reduce carbon around the world. It's pretty. I'd say it's still pretty important. Might not be exciting, but it's still pretty important.
Yeah, I would be very inclined to agree with you on that. One other thing that's happening this week, and it's only going to get mentioned the once, is the F1 22 game has come out, or is coming out. I've no idea what it's like. We didn't get sent a preview copy. It looks exactly, graphic-wise, like the last one.
It doesn't.
With the new cars.
It looks fucking awesome. Have you seen it with the ray tracing on?
I've just made a point of not watching too many preview videos because they keep saying it'll look different to this when it comes out.
I think that's the funny thing is, if you look at, you don't notice because it's been incremental updates, but you play last year and this year because like I did, because I didn't buy last year's game until it ended up coming on EA Access on Game Pass, and then I had a go of it. But I was like halfway through a season of 2020 when I started playing 2021, and like there is like a fucking noticeable difference between those games, but you don't notice it because you're going from one to the next, But no, like I think it looks nice.
Question's going to be, how does it play? What are the physics like? I'm all about the proper sims at the minute, so.
I mean, it'll be a game, won't it? That's the thing. Formula One, the Formula One games have never been sim games, have they?
No,
but it should feel different to the last lot because the cars should be different and behave differently. So it should have a little bit of a different feel. I remember when we were doing this podcast a few years back now. I think it was F1 2016. I was just like, I'm not into this. It doesn't feel connected to the controller for some reason. And I tried it, and it just I hardly ever played 16 because it just didn't feel. It was weird. You know, like when you drive a car, you feel like the wheels connected to the road, connected to the steering wheel. It felt like none of that was connected. I know I'm playing through a bloody controller, but it just. So I stopped playing for a couple of years. I've still got 2020, and I occasionally play it, but that's the last Formula One game I got. I don't intend on getting 22 yet. I'll wait and see what everyone says about it.
Of course, if anyone from EA is listening and wants to send us some copies, then
Paul will quite happily change his opinion.
EA Sports. It's in the race
post.
In the post.
Yeah, PlayStation, Xbox, digital download only, or PC. I'm happy to accept any. Just on the subject of that, because we've not actually mentioned Formula Lee this early in the show, or barely in the show all season. It is still going on F1 2021, and if anyone wants to take part, it's Silverstone in the dry in a Mercedes, and you've still got until Monday the 4th to get your time in. So there. Right, what else?
Indeed.
Have we got anything remotely close to news, or are we just going to sort of drift off into a realm of British Grand Prix memories.
Let's do that. Well, not memories. You don't have to memorise anything.
I don't know. I mean,
Although having said that, talking about memories, did you see the thing? You saw it, I know, Paul. The podium of your first ever race that you watched.
Yes, and it's good to know that I am not the oldest.
No. What can you remember the podium from your first race, Lee?
I don't know what the podium was. I know it was the race Senna died, so whatever that podium was.
Oh, that would have been Schumacher, Larini, and
Hill?
Don't know. Possibly. Let me have a quick look.
Hang on, I've got it up in front of me, and it was Schumacher, Larini, and Hakkinen. Yeah. Sean, you remember your first?
I do not. I couldn't tell you what my first race was, actually. It was always just kind of on in the background for a while. No idea.
See, I can remember Mansell giving the lift to Senna, and that was the British Grand Prix in '91, but I don't think I watched the race, if you know what I mean. I think it was just on, and I was doing whatever kids do at the time. Probably out in the garden. Playing in the summer, but the first race I can remember watching and actually wanting to watch was the Japanese Grand Prix, and the podium for that was Gerhard Berger won the race, Ayrton Senna finished second, and Riccardo Patrese finished third, and Nigel Mansell caught fire.
I mean, the first race I actually do remember watching it wasn't live. It was highlights on either Grandstand or World of Sport the following week, but it was the 1976 Japanese Grand Prix when James Hunt won the title. So that was Mario Andretti, Patrick Depailler, and James Hunt.
Yeah, finished third on the final lap. Didn't he, to win the title?
Yes. Yeah, when he got out of the car absolutely fuming.
Because he thought he finished fifth.
Yeah, thought he'd finished fifth, and various team members and mechanics were all holding up three fingers to him. And if you look at the footage, I swear James Hunt was going to take one of his own team members out until he actually realised, and then the celebrating started. It was kind of the opposite of Felipe Massa's dad.
Oh no, that's still that's horrible to watch now, isn't it? You know, Ferrari dancing around because they think that they've won the title, and then that one guy comes along. He's like, "No, look at the screen," and then smashes the Ferrari sign off the side of the garage.
It would have been an interesting room to be in, wouldn't it? To be when Max won the championship at the last race. It would have been an interesting room to have been in if you were in there with Felipe Massa. I wonder how he felt about Lewis Hamilton losing a championship on the last lap.
Yeah. Well, Max Verstappen said it, didn't he? You know, he's won a championship on the last lap, so he knows how it feels. Now he's lost one on the last lap.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you'd want to take a gun to your head.
No, I don't think. No,
let me do the punchline. Is that Glock?
Oh, come on.
Sorry, I quite like that one.
No. It was bloody silly. You have to go round the houses a bit to get there, but okay.
Yeah, it did need a lot of explanation for the quantity of lol it provided.
Discretion would have been the better part of valor there, because that could have been used in the future. Keep it in the head, work on it a little bit.
I'll find another use for that one anyway. I'm sure. So anyway, yes, Silverstone this weekend. We don't have a sprint race this time. They're saving that for Austria next weekend because we're in the first.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
we're back to back, are we?
Yeah, we're in the first of two back-to-backs. Now I'm going to miss the Austrian sprint race because I'm at our local sim racing place. As we all have an invite to be that afternoon as well, by the way. I'll tell you about that later off air.
Yeah.
So we're going into the British Grand Prix with Red Bull pretty much dominating both championships,
and nobody looking like they're going to get anywhere near them. To be perfectly honest, I mean, Max is driving flawlessly. It's only when the car really lets him down that he's, that he's having any problems. Perez is doing exactly the job you want your teammate to do. He's probably never going to be favourite for the title unless, something incredibly drastic happens.
I mean, Horner said he can race for it, so we instantly know that's bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and even if he could race for it, I still think Max would probably have the legs on him. But Ferrari are doing a wonderful job of being themselves and falling apart a little bit just as we approach mid-season. I'd like to see them mount some kind of challenge, but I don't know how they can. Red Bull are just so strong at the moment, and Ferrari have just dropped the ball too many times. Kind of reminiscent of the Champions League final a few seasons ago, when Karius dropped the ball into the back of the net twice. So you can't come back from that.
Apparently he was still on the books at Liverpool last season as their 6th choice keeper.
Really? 6th choice goalkeeper. I reckon they probably would have found somebody else to put in front of him had the first 5 fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, I think it was the guy who puts the shower gel in the dressing room.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's not something that's easily clawed back, is it? You kind of need Red Bull to do a Ferrari in order for Ferrari to catch them. And at the moment, Ferrari are the only team with the pace to catch them, but they keep strategizing themselves out of the race. The reliability is not there. Yeah. And I don't know, their heads are down. Their morale just doesn't seem to be there. Early season it was, but now it's like their heads have dropped, and it's just like, well, we'll claw back as much as we can. But every race they're losing ground to Red Bull.
Yeah, I mean, Ferrari have had technical issues. They've with the car not behaving like they want it to. Carlos Sainz had a couple of nightmare races. In some cases,
nightmare races. I think.
In some cases, trying too hard to regain position. It's prime Ferrari, really. We could have done it, but everything went wrong, including us.
Yeah.
And that's why for this weekend, I mean, one thing that made me think that this is going to be a solid Red Bull weekend is Christian Horner's already talking up Ferrari's chances.
Yeah, I mean, it is literally just between those two, isn't it, at the moment? Mercedes are probably the third. We talked about this last week. Mercedes are probably the third best team out there at the moment, but they're nowhere near. Like, even in Canada, when they had a better race, they were still 6-7 tenths a lap off, leader's pace. But I mean, race pace at times, Hamilton's race pace, I think, was matching the leaders. But you're not going to catch them if you're matching them, are you? You're only ever going to keep that gap exactly the same.
I think it's probably tyre dependent as well at that point, or something
absolutely,
like that.
Yeah. It's so yeah, it is between Red Bull and Ferrari, and yeah, I don't see anybody else other than Red Bull winning and Max Verstappen winning, to be perfectly honest.
Do we know yet what the Great British Summer is providing weather-wise?
Rain, probably.
Probably. It is the standard sort of July.
We're too far out now to be able to tell, but let's have a quick look.
Yeah, I mean, the long-range forecast says wet on Friday, dry Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing as well.
But as we know, the weather at Silverstone can change remarkably quickly. Just as in the other year when there was that torrential downpour while everyone was on the grid.
Yeah, Jenson Button said you could go swimming at the back of the circuit. And it was completely dry on the grid.
Yeah. I mean, unless there's some kind of biblical flooding, then again, I think the Red Bull's probably going to be a half decent car in the wet as well.
Yeah, The I just don't think Ferrari are fucking capable of challenging.
They are, because Sainz was pretty close in Canada, but
no, they've got. Don't get me wrong, the car's quick enough. I mean, just as a functional
Just
team,
putting it all together on the day.
absolutely. No, that's exactly. I would totally agree, because I mean, you could have a Ferrari front row after qualifying, and for some reason, I still wouldn't think that Ferrari would finish the race in first place.
Yeah. Well, Max has shown that, hasn't he? Isn't there a stat now this year that Max has converted more of Charles Leclerc's poles into wins than Charles Leclerc?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be true.
Yeah, I mean, Max is on 26 wins from 15 pole positions. So it
Charles Leclerc's like, what, 20 poles and 6 wins or something?
Let's have a look. It is 15 poles and 4 wins. You weren't far off.
No.
I want to say off the top of my head as well, all his wins have come from pole.
I think they have. But,
I think we might see a crashy Leclerc again soon, as things become increasingly more desperate, because the championship's not over for him now. It looks a bit over, but it's not over. And he does have a tendency to make the odd mistake here and there when he's, when the pressure's on him. I'm looking back to where did he stick it in the wall when he was chasing?
Similar.
Yeah. So especially if it comes to like a 50-50 between him and Max, because Max is not the sort of driver to back down, and I would argue that maybe Charles Leclerc isn't quite as good a wheel-to-wheel racer as Lewis Hamilton. So if Lewis and Max are coming together when the pressure's on, I can definitely see Max and Charles Leclerc coming together.
Wonder if they'll stick a wheel up the inside of Cops. Imagine if that happened, if Max sticks a wheel up the inside of Cops and it goes horribly wrong.
Yeah.
What's Christian Horner say then? Because apparently you don't go sticking a wheel at the inside of Cops.
You do not.
Despite the fact.
I don't know, but who's he going to get?
Lots of people do it.
Who's he going to get to recreate it? Because Albon's otherwise spoken for.
That was ridiculous when he said that. But I still stand by that. That accident was still definitely Hamilton's fault.
No, that'll be Yuri Vip's punishment. Just want to quickly talk about somebody who I'm partnering with at the minute. It's a product that I've actually started using every day, AG1, and I started taking it basically because I was looking for sort of slightly better gut health, because it's something that everyone struggled with from time to time, and I just thought I'm going to give this a go, and I didn't want to be taking loads of different supplements every day. So with this, it's just one scoop in a cup of water, and you're getting 75 different high-quality vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and something called adaptogens, which apparently, I don't know, judging by the word, I've never heard of it before, they can adapt your gens. And we all need our gens adapting. It's something good to take in the morning because it sort of kicks you off a little bit during the day, and does tend to wake you up a bit without going for excess caffeine. Good thing about it is it's lifestyle friendly. So whatever diet you're on at the moment, there's a lot of those: keto, paleo, vegan, dairy free, gluten free, minerals only, God knows what. It fits in with every kind of diet, and it's not chock full of sugar. So that actually works quite well. They describe it as a micro habit with big benefits. I've never come across a micro habit before, but yeah, you get into the habit of taking it every morning, and it's one thing that you can do every single day to take great care of yourself. And the good thing is, it's actually cheaper than going out and getting coffee. Now, I like my coffee, but I'm prepared to sacrifice 1 cup a day. The price works out less than, I'm going to do this in traditional Patreon style, $3, €3 or £3. It's cheap. It's cheaper than that. What more can you really say about this? I mean, it's had 5-star reviews across every single platform. It's recommended by professional athletes, and if you go on the website itself, you will see a Formula One driver that you're aware of who uses and recommends the product. So, to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is go to athleticgreens.com/Formula1, and that's FORMULAONE, just to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Yeah, you're a bit punishment. Yeah. We don't need to go into that, do we?
Yeah, silly boy. Careful what you say on the internet. Are you listening, Lee?
Never said anything that I wouldn't back. I do feel a bit like are we going to talk about the VIP thing? We haven't.
No, we don't really need to.
You don't really need to. He said something that he didn't say on a live stream. He's been an absolute. He
didn't say it.
Right?
He said something he didn't say.
Said something he shouldn't have said. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So he definitely said.
You said something.
I said something. I had said something I shouldn't have said. But yeah, he said something that he shouldn't have said on a live stream in public, and he's having to deal with the consequences.
I hope he doesn't get sacked.
He might do,
because he might do. But the problem I have with these things is, if we keep fucking destroying people when they do something wrong, then there's no point apologizing for anything. It's like he's 21. Like to destroy a 21-year-old's future because he said something that was stupid and offensive, and he shouldn't have said it 100%. But the idea that somebody can do something at 21 and there isn't a road to retribution leaves me a bit cold.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but at the same time, actions have consequences. So I also think people need to take into consideration, like, because I've heard a lot of bullshit around this as well, and from first one on top of the head was the race. They had someone talk about this. I was listening to it today, and her opinion of it was that she said, "I can't understand how a 21-year-old man could have ever said this word." Now, this is not me saying everyone should go out and say offensive things, especially that particular word. Mm-hmm. But for her to say, "I don't understand," then either she's ignorant to how young people speak to each other online when playing video games, or she's disingenuous. No, I don't think it's that. I think it's more to do with the fact that English is not his first language. That could be a factor. It could be a word that he has misunderstood.
I don't think that's a factor. I think
no, not misunderstood.
I think his English is probably better than ours.
No, I don't. No, I'm not saying it's not his first language, though, is it?
No, it's not his first language. But I don't. It's like saying fuck. It is. I don't care where you're from. You understand? Someone tells you to fuck off. You know what it means.
Well, yeah, that's a Billy Connolly sketch. But the well, it is. But the
but yeah, you can't say go away. It just trails off. Go away.
Yeah. You might know that. Yeah, he might know that it's a slanderous word that you shouldn't say. But I wonder if he knows, with English not being his first language, and he was streaming in English. Wonder if he knows that that's what the origins of that word were. Because let's be honest, when you see the Red Bull team celebrating when they win a race, and as I said just now, they've been winning a lot of races lately. There are a lot of different ethnicities within that team, within the pit crew. They might not be too keen on helping a driver who thinks it's okay to say those kind of things.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. But the fact of the matter is, in the situation he's in, you can go and stick any online multiplayer game like Call of Duty on and just listen, and you will hear 20 kids say that to each other within the first 5 minutes of listening.
Well, then I wonder if that's why he thinks it's an okay thing to say, when it really isn't.
Yeah,
But-
Yeah, I think
You
it's
know,
more
it does-
education that's needed.
It doesn't make it okay. It means that
No,
You
I'm
know,
not.
there's
I'm
a
not saying.
problem.
I'm no. I'm not saying it's okay. The broader discussion would be is like, does desensitizing words take the power away from them? And that is the most sensible thing to do is not to protect words like this, not to keep them powerful. Essentially,
yeah, there is an argument around that, and I do understand it.
so the odd
Sort of
thing
take
is,
the power back take the power back by reusing the word or repurposing the word.
Yeah. Look at gay. It's a queer is definitely a word you could say that. That was such a derogatory term, even like within our lifetime.
We still
were
get
at school.
complaints at work anytime we say queer. We get
Yeah.
loads of complaints from the sort of, the older generation who don't realise that you can say it.
Yeah. It's just
It's a
a
preferred
word.
term.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a word that has been. It's
But
been
I
You
don't
can't
think
say that!
Yeah,
I
completely
don't think-
de-weaponized.
Yeah, but I don't think we're at that stage yet with the word that, and I don't think we ever will be, with the
No.
word that Yuri Vips chose to
But
use.
I would argue that if kids are saying it a lot, and you're talking, I mean, younger than Yuri, and they're using it as just
Well, it
our
was- it
words
was- it was-
that they're throwing at each other, then surely that is the first steps towards it.
He got shot in the game, didn't he? And he decided to call the
Yeah.
character who shot him
Yeah,
that particular word.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's still being used as a derogatory term. It's not being
No,
used as
yeah,
like,
but it's
hey, friend! Like,
but it doesn't. Look what Britain did to cunt, for instance. Like we have no bad swear words anymore in the UK because we constantly use them as greetings to each other. It's like if you hear an
Australia
American,
got there first with.
oh yeah,
with
straight,
cunt.
definitely.
Absolutely.
But if you hear like an American, it's really great when you hear an American say cunt because they really mean it. They really mean it, like they're being really harsh to somebody. But over here, there's too many times someone's walked out up and said, "You're right, you cunt." Everything all right. So it's I don't know. It's a whole thing, isn't it? I just don't like. In the same way as I was, I didn't like the pylon for Mazepin. I don't like the pylon for Vips, and most of the people that are outraged on social media are people that are really just want to see harm come to somebody that's more successful than they are.
That's awfully presumptuous of you, but I know why you're saying it, but I don't think that would be the case for everybody who's
No. Just but I think the majority of people jumping on it, especially the majority of white people jumping on it, I think are just doing it to pile on someone that's more successful than they are. Silverstone.
And thank you, Jacques.
I don't think there was anything in there too Jacques.
No,
worthy.
I just drop that in now every time just to be on the safe side. that was actually a jump cut. We've also got the W Series race this week, so best of luck to two friends of the podcast, Abby and Alice, who are both driving, currently second and third in the championship behind Jamie Chadwick.
Nice.
So it'll be good to see what comes of this, because Jamie Chadwick on
Darth Vader just walk in.
3 wins out of 3.
That was a chav driving past because
Bean
top
can on his Fiesta.
Yes, I couldn't quite see in time whether it was a Fiesta or not, but yes, small hatch with modified exhaust.
Yeah, 1.1 Citroen Saxo with a PA system in the
I don't
boot.
think they have Saxos anymore. I think it does tend to be
Different
Fiestas.
Saxos, yeah. Oh God. we
Was
need
it
our
a
lemonade
Nova?
lifestyle
Maybe it
friends to go.
maybe it was a
yeah,
Vauxhall
Vauxhall Nova.
Yeah, General Motors tried selling a model called the Nova in Mexico. Unfortunately, in Spanish, that translates as doesn't go.
Yeah, Nova.
Yeah. Anyway, Silverstone. Do we have much more to say about it other than predictions?
Let's predict.
Yeah, because
we can't predict, so let's do it anyway.
yeah. I mean, we're all going for a Verstappen win, aren't we?
I
think so. I'm gonna give two predictions. I'm gonna give
Oh, God.
standard Silverstone or eventful Silverstone.
I'm going George fucking Russell. Why not? Let's have an interesting
For a win.
race. Yeah, George Russell win.
My top three, if we get standard Silverstone, would be Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc. And for eventful Silverstone, Sainz, Hamilton, Russell.
Yeah, I could see either of those happening. I reckon Verstappen, Perez. I'm gonna go Sainz third.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Verstappen, Sainz, Russell.
If that Mercedes can be in contention for a top 3 sort of position, I'll stick my neck out and say Russell sticks it on pole. We get like a proper Mr. Saturday go where he finds half a second in a car that isn't there.
He's not Mr. Saturday anymore. He's Mr. Consistent.
It's true, he is, but he's been pretty good on Saturday still, though.
Yeah, but now he's matching it on Sundays.
Yeah, Mr. Giant Beater, I think we can call him.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting. I mean, Mercedes are bringing upgrades.
So Alpine and Alfa Romeo apparently big upgrades for those 3 teams.
Yeah, Alfa Romeo are quite excited about themselves, aren't they? They're talking about they've got lots of spares.
Well, they haven't
They
haven't had spares before.
But they're also Italian, so let's be careful about this.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing, this will work well for Alfa Romeo because Silverstone is nowhere near the sea, so they can't rust.
Like the fact they're made out of carbon fibre. Come on.
Yeah, but
My Alfa never rusted. I just sold it.
I was going to say, how's that Alfa of yours doing that you don't own anymore?
It's fine. I think the last time I saw it, it was still for sale for just as much as I bought it for.
Yeah. How long ago was it you sold it?
3 months now.
Yeah, that's been taken back to the earth. It's biodegradable.
No, I think 2 weeks ago. No, before TT. Before TT was still sat there for sale.
Yeah.
It's nothing but the plastic bits are left.
Yeah, don't forget, during the last 3 weeks, it has rained.
Yeah, it rains quite a lot here. It's fine.
Alfa apparently haven't been able to bring spares to or new spares to a lot of the races, and they've been fixing the car up with old and previously used parts, including the anti-stall, which appears to be the biggest problem that both drivers have had. You just kind of get used to hearing Zhou Guanyu go, "Oh God, not again."
Yeah, well, is that what happened to his car in? Not Canada. It was Mick Schumacher, wasn't it? Who broke down in Canada. Which race was it where Zhou just it was Baku, wasn't it? Where he just started stopping and had to pull into the pits.
Yes, I think
it was. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, he's had
the car kicking into anti-stall mid-race. Really, let's be honest.
He's had three retirements this season, and I think 2 of them have been blamed on the anti-stall.
Yeah, one of them was there was a sprint race, wasn't it? At Imola when he went backwards into the wall. So that was just a sprint race.
Yeah. But so if Alfa can get some reliability, there's a chance if McLaren have another bad week that Bottas could actually pass Norris in the Drivers' Championship.
Bottas has been doing a solid enough job. Did anybody see? I didn't see it till after last week's. After the last race, possibly even after last week's podcast. I'm not quite sure. But the interview with Lando Norris from Dutch television.
No, got to admit, didn't see that.
Yeah. What happened at the pit stop? It went wrong. Okay.
Yes.
He said, "I don't know what happened. The team will have to tell me in a minute." So, but there were no tires, and you need tires if you want to run a car.
Correct.
I think we saw the first signs of Lando Norris getting even though he was still joking, like getting a bit pissed off. Which rightfully you would be, because you double stacked behind your teammate, you lose a couple of seconds doing that anyway, and then there's no tyres for you. So,
yeah, I mean, Danny's normally the person that happens to.
Especially if it's Monaco.
Yes.
But, we've already had that this year.
Yeah, what are we thinking about sort of further down the grid? Who's gonna get a decent performance? I know, Lee, you're gonna say Alonso because
I would agree.
Yeah, he's been driving well.
He's been driving well, and he usually does quite well at Silverstone anyway. Even when the McLaren was terrible, he got some good performances at Silverstone, where it's a circuit which you wouldn't have expected that McLaren to do very well at. I want to see. I want to see what Alonso could do if those Alpine upgrades work. Maybe it'll be Alpine and Alfa Romeo fighting out for the third best team. Unless Mercedes upgrades work, in which case,
yeah, this is knocking McLaren even further back down, and I just get the feeling it's going to be another nightmare weekend for Aston Martin.
Quite possibly. I mean, they changed to like almost that B-spec car, didn't they? Which is very similar to the Red Bull design. That's gone very quiet as well, hasn't it? Nobody said much more about that.
Well,
but
because it's nowhere near as good as the Red Bull.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering if Aston Martin have sort of hurriedly put together some kind of car that looks a bit like the Red Bull, but don't fully understand how it works.
That sounds plausible.
But Lawrence Stroll is like, do the thing, copy the car like we did the last time. Do the thing, make that fast car our car. And so, well, okay, yeah, I did kind of design that because I was with that team at the time, but okay, yeah, you know what's going on here. And they've just gone ahead with this B-spec car and don't actually know how to make it work.
It would be a very, we'll just say Silverstone type team to happen. I heard a ping, but Lee wants to come back in.
Oh, I didn't know he'd gone.
No.
Oh, did he leave?
That was really fucking weird.
Where did you go?
I don't know. Everything just went quiet, and I had to quit out and come back in. And
all you missed was me saying, I wonder if Aston Martin have made their B-spec car after not copying the Red Bull, but saying, going down the same road as the Red Bull, but they don't actually understand it. They've just sort of made the shapes very similar to make it, as fact, Lawrence Stroll's gone do the fast thing.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what
we don't know how this works.
Because Vettel looked pretty handy at times in Canada in that. He looked in qualifying. He didn't know what had gone on with him, which I'm thinking might be tyre temperature. But he looked on for pole, on Saturday in those conditions. So I've got a funny feeling that car's going to come right. It's if there's one thing, we shouldn't go too much because the pink Mercedes thing has the pink Mercedes and the fact that we don't really like the Strolls has like soured us to that team a little bit. But they've always been really good at sorting themselves out, and they've been especially good at utilizing the B-spec car.
Yeah, and it's something that, if the stories are to be believed, they need to get the car sorted out if they want to keep Vettel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much a given, isn't it? I wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement on him around about the same time as we get one from Alonso, because I've got a funny feeling. Remember how we heard those stories from Alonso that they were trying to get him not so long ago. I've got a funny feeling that maybe they've been courting Alonso again instead of Vettel. They seemed pretty keen on that. So I've got a feeling that Alonso will end up signing this weekend for Alpine for 2 years probably, and Vettel's deal will come shortly after that. But they should do more. Like they've got the money that's there, and like when you think about this big factory they're building and stuff like that, it's absolutely put up or shut up time for that team, isn't it?
I've said this all along. The thing that they can do to improve is have 2 drivers in the car. They need to get rid of Stroll. I think I won't say he's outstayed his welcome, but he's not getting anything out of this season. He's had 3 10th places.
It's more than the other Canadian.
The other Canadian who is still behind in the championship to a driver that only raced twice. That other Canadian.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, excuse me.
Yep, that is your weekly mention of the fact that Hülkenberg is 20th and Latifi is 21st in a 20-driver championship. I just think Stroll isn't handling it. Would any other team have kept him on at this point? Or would any other team be looking to replace him at this point? Because I don't think he's not worth it. I mean, how long's he been in F1 now? Is this his 5th season?
We had this conversation last week, and I still can't remember the answer.
Yeah, I think
Lance Stroll.
We
think it was his 6th, wasn't it?
But yeah, sorry, it is his 6th.
With the conversation that we had last week. But yeah, he's not going anywhere, is he? And so it all depends what happens to that other seat. I'm not sure Vettel's going to sign a long-term deal, but
you're really struggling with that cough.
I'm at the wrong angle because the cat's pinned me at the wrong angle, and I can't shift it. The cough, not the cat.
Well, you can't shift the cat either. He looks too cute.
Move the cat.
Yeah.
I moved him about 20 minutes ago, and he came back.
Move him
again.
Come on, Bruno. I need to sit up a little bit more.
But I mean, should Aston Martin just bin off Stroll, take a chance on Piastri, get him before Williams do?
Yeah.
Let's be perfectly honest here. They should bin off Stroll and take a chance on fucking Roscoe. It's time to move on.
You know, all right. He's not the worst. He's not the worst Canadian on the grid, and therefore not the worst driver on the grid. But he's just.
He's not a bad driver. He's a good driver, but good drivers don't win Formula One races.
No, he's a good enough driver to have come into Formula One and fell out of Formula One a season or two after he came in.
Thierry Boutsen or Bruno Giacomelli, that kind of. Adrian Sutil.
Yes.
Adrian
Thierry
Sutil.
Boutsen was fairly decent, if I remember rightly. He just was incredibly unlucky when he went to teams that should have been competitive. He was the Alonso of his day, Thierry Boutsen. Should have been competitive, never had the car.
Pastor Maldonado. Came in,
Less
went
crashy
fast,
than Pastor
crashed
Maldonado.
a bit, departed.
Kumasato, maybe.
At least he was exciting. You know, Maldonado was, and he was an exciting addition to the grid.
Oh yeah, you knew something was going to happen around him.
Yeah, when you can have a whole competition about what corner a driver is gonna crash on, and somebody wins that said competition by simply saying lap 1, turn 1 for the entire year.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
I kind of class Maldonado a bit sort of Ramstein.
Lauren to his own thing entirely.
No, I'm going Ramstein on this.
I'm intrigued.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty
so
good,
am I.
Pretty good to begin with, but way much more entertaining with added fire.
Potentially, yes.
Ramstein fact: do you know they use so much petroleum or whatever it is, pyro, that they have to source it locally because they're legally not allowed to carry enough.
Yeah, I like that.
And in order for them to do it, Till Lindemann, the frontman of Rammstein, is a trained pyrotechnician.
I really thought you were going to say trained pyromaniac then. For a second.
No, he's a trained pyrotechnician. Because they needed somebody, so he was like, "Yeah, all right, then I'll do it." so he sets up all the pyro before the gigs. Yeah, so there's another weird little interesting Rammstein fact for you. Been going since 1993, 94. Never had a lineup change. Not even for a week.
And Lee only started listening to them last year.
Oh dear, Lee. Yeah, Rammstein. I like Rammstein.
I do
I was going to get
now.
tickets to see them. I was going to get tickets to see them, but they sold out in like a minute.
I did see on Twitter earlier when they played in Coventry last night, they could be heard 11 miles away.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. Rammstein, Nine Inch Nails. They're my two booking bucket list bands. If I could get 2 tickets to go watch anybody.
Oh, there's hope for you yet.
But Pastor Maldonado's not your bucket list driver, though. Let's be honest.
No, definitely not. Going back to slagging off Lance Stroll. Yeah, just just get rid. I know it's his dad's team. It's his dad's money. His dad's got
one awkward Christmas. That's all it'll be.
His dad's car company, though, isn't that the thing? It's Lawrence Stroll he owns Aston Martin as well. So unless that Formula One team is not Aston Martin, Lance Stroll is going to be driving it.
Unless they finally get round to entering WEC, then at least there's 2 other drivers to pick up the slack. If there's any car left. But yeah, let's get Piastri in there, or at least in a car. Start the campaign now. Hashtag Piastri to replace a Canadian.
I think you'll be in the
That's
Williams.
a long hashtag.
As snappy hashtags go, that isn't one. But
No, it is not.
Look, sometimes facts aren't snappy.
It's like Susan album party all over again.
Oh, yes.
You can tell there's not a lot of F1 news tonight. It's been more tangents than a Raganathan 3-point turn.
If you've enjoyed this, then you'd enjoy the Patreon. You should go and sign up to the Patreon.
Oh, let's do that now. Yes. We do have occasional extra shows that we do on Patreon, but you get the podcast early without any of the adverts, like what you may have already heard, unless you're already a Patreon. Right, I've just talked myself into a corner here, haven't I? Basically, if you go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels, you can sign up from $1, £1, €1, or as I found out this week, 80 Norwegian kroner, or 8 Norwegian kroner.
Not one.
Not one. No, it's 8 Norwegian kroner.
Okay.
Because we've got a new patron from Norway. So you can sign up there, get the shows early, helps us out, keeps us ticking over, does things like buy these new non-collapsible mic stands.
They're all right,
Help us
these.
help you.
Yeah, none of which has collapsed. Are we about done for this week? We've done the token slagging off of Canadians, previewed the British Grand Prix. Oh, if you want to do your own predictions, by the way, go to the website, 3legs4wheels.com, go to the games section, and Prediction League predictions are open until 5 minutes before qualifying starts on Saturday, and then again for up to 5 minutes before the race starts on Sunday.
Speaking of predictions, we haven't done a top 3.
No, you didn't do a top 3. The rest of us did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is that when it disappeared?
Oh, it might have been around about. You told us you were doing Russell as your winner.
Yeah.
I don't. I can't remember what you said after that.
Russell, Sainz, Hamilton.
Interesting.
That's shenanigans for Red Bull there then.
Yeah. If you think different, stick your own predictions down on the website, or you can get in touch with us, 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, or at 3legs4wheels on all the socials, and individually we are on Twitter.
At Sean Cowper.
At Flood21.
At A Total Shunt.
And at Pablo100. Also, if you get a chance, give us a review on your podcast platform, because the last one wasn't very, very complimentary to, and I'm quoting it here, the old guy.
Oh. What did they say?
It was something like he's got lots of stats and information, but he's not cut out for podcasting.
Oh, that's not very nice, is it?
No, it isn't.
The old guy, probably mean me.
Okay.
Sound old.
So if you
Feel old. It's not.
So if you want to be nice about us young whippersnappers, leave us a review.
How many stars did he leave?
2.
Ooh.
It's not. It's better than 1.
I was going to say, it's better than 1 star, and the review was titled OK.
Generous.
I mean, 2 stars isn't an okay review, though, is it? Like,
it's
3
less than
stars would
halfway,
be-
isn't it? Assuming we're on
Yeah.
a 5 stars rating.
3, like, I would say 2 stars is disappointing. 1 star is bad. 3
Yep.
stars is okay.
Yeah, 3. If it's 3 out of 5, that's kind of acceptable.
Yeah. I see. I don't mind him not enjoying the podcast. That's fine. I'm probably perfectly natural for a human. But I just want him to have his own scoring system in order.
Yeah, like who would have thought anybody would enjoy listening to us talk about Formula One?
I know, yeah.
Even we do
Yeah.
sometimes.
Oh, actually, speaking of which, I'll say this here as well because I need to do it on other platforms, and I know we have a lot of crossover listeners. I'm not doing Hot Lap anymore because I'm too fucking busy with Musty Audio, so I'm gonna pull the plug on Hot Lap. I recorded fucking 10 hours of podcasting last week without not including this show. Fuck, it was more than that.
What? How would you feel if it turned out that you were the old guy and, as it turns out, not cut out for podcasting?
Fucking, I'm doing too many. I'm doing too much of it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There was 1 pre-recorded podcast and 2 live streams over the weekend, and yeah, there was a lot of talking. And when I turned my computer off, I thought I've got no words left.
Yeah.
I've got no words left.
Right, in that case, as you've used up all your words, I think we'd probably better bugger off.
Awesome.
Look us up on Discord. There'll be chat going on during all the sessions, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you need a link, drop us a line, and I'll send you a link out. Other than that, we'll be back next week for a review of Silverstone. If you are going to be there, send photos because we want to see as many listeners as possible
Of
having
the
a good
race.
time. Of the race. Yeah, I mean that
Not
was,
just any old shite you find on the floor.
yeah. And use our Twitter if you want to arrange to meet other listeners. It may well happen one day.
Oh,
Yeah, be careful by doing that though, because I'm sure all our listeners are lovely, but not every human is lovely. Meeting people on the internet is fucking dangerous.
you meet in a public place. If you're at a racetrack, you'll stay safe.
No, say Steve. Not used that one for a long time.
Yeah.
Look. Let's be perfectly honest here, though. We've definitely had a couple of psychopaths.
What?
Our listeners. We've definitely had a couple of psychopaths where we've gone, yikes, that's a person.
Yeah, I guess they are, but
Yeah, but we still think Dan's got the highest body count. Not proven.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, we're going. We'll see you next week. Have a good
Ciao.
have a good race. Bye-bye.
Bye.
hi.